Was the strength. So their shot calling has been on point, and that's going to be a Krull ban.
It is a Krull ban. Pretty unique. We haven't seen a Krull ban yet, I don't think, until this point. So they're definitely respecting this pick. Perhaps there's a specific comp they're going for. Teams on A side generally do like to build a strategic comp versus trying to counter many times. So if Krull is that counter pick, they're getting rid of him.
Yeah, well, there's going to be the Sky taken off as well, so a lot of the power picks still available. And with Lance being the first pick, that's very surprising. It
is very surprising for Avalanche, but they seem to value this pick. It is a flex pick. It could go into a roam or carry. However, the Sky ban, the Krull ban, this is so far a very different kind of meta draft, and if this Catherine actually comes in for SK Gaming, I feel like we're in a completely different patch.
Yeah, this is very unusual to see Samuel and Lyra left open going into the third pick rotation.
Oh man, but the Adagio does come in, so I feel a little more at home seeing him on the fold. Whew, wouldn't be a game without him, I don't think. So now that it's back over to Snow Avalanche's side, this is kind of a critical moment for them. We do see the Catherine and Adagio.
Oh.
They do pick Koshka.
We've been waiting to see Koshka for quite some time. Even last week in North America, we really thought this pick was going to come out, but we never got to see it. Now we finally get one here on the last series of Europe.
Yeah, this is very true. We do maybe see a little bit more why they got rid of Krull to begin with, although Vox coming in too, so this is a very different draft coming out of Avalanche, something I'm sure they've practiced.
Yeah, I mean, Snow Avalanche, they said they have a lot of comps, very specific comps that they are going to be looking to run, so this is very obviously one of those comps, because why else would you pick these heroes in the current meta? And Samuel's going to go through undrafted.
Lyra's going to go through undrafted. These teams might have made a pact before and said, let's not play these guys.
Something had to have happened, because for those...
We saw first play on 121 at Gamescom, and actually they played an incredibly good Samuel there. They did some superb drafting, superb picks. I'm really surprised at the fact that Samuel's got all the way through. I'm not surprised by the Koshka pickup.
I think if anyone was going to run Koshka, Snow Avalanche were definitely the team. Now, in our interviews with them, they said there were 4 heroes that they wanted to get. Vox, Samuel, Lance, and Koshka. Well, they've got 3 of those 4 in this composition, so if they don't win, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed.
Samuel was free as well, so they couldn't have even gone for Samuel and Lane. I assume it's going to be Crystal Power Koshka?
Yes. No,
on-hit Crystal Power is really the way you tend to go on Koshka?
I don't know many people that go Weapon Power Koshka, but most people will, likely end up going Crystal Power Koshka. It's very good against Adagio. You can lock him down very easily. You follow that up with Lance, who gets an Impale. Good combo there, and I think it will definitely be a Weapon Power Vox. I just feel like that's better for kiting against the Catherine and the Glaive with.
And the thing is, SK are never really going to be grouped enough for Resonance to matter. Like, oh, Bio's going to take a lot of pain here, gets knocked into the wall with the Githian wall. He might even fall, just about surviving. And interestingly, actually, we talked about Iron Guard contracts last game. Bio's picked one up, and he was full health when that fight started. I wonder if the Iron Guard saved his life.
Potentially. Iron Guard maybe gave him enough
health to sustain.
The Resonance actually gave away his position there. So, he didn't quite realize the Resonance bounces, I don't think, and then obviously probably didn't realize that Bashin was waiting on the other side. And Bashin is the shot caller for Avalanche, by the way. So Avalanche they list one of their best qualities as being able to listen to Bashin's calls. So Bashin is the shot caller. He probably just said, go straight in. We know that someone's there. Either if it's going to be Wrath or Bio, we should be able to get a lot of damage down.
Good,
so this is going to be an emerging trend that we've started to see in Europe. It is not just the previous 2 teams that managed to pick up. It's not just Tsunami.
Big fight going on here. Bastion's going to get stunned up. Wrath gets knocked back with a Githian wall and actually creates the target. Kentisig is doing a huge amount of work on that Koshka, but not able to get the damage down. He will fall, as will Voldemar. He gets run over in his Voldecar, and now Bastion does get stunned up with a Merciless Pursuit. Should be able to get away from Bio. I don't think they have quite enough damage to chase down that Lance.
Yeah, again, they had inkling that the rest of the Snow Avalanche team was there. They ran in and land a stun. Stormguard barrier comes up. It makes it very difficult to take down Catherine. And Kentisig, with Koshka, especially at this level, once you go in as a Crystal Power Koshka and use both of your abilities and aren't able to secure a kill, your damage output is severely reduced. You really can't do much once you've used both of your abilities. You need to start getting those cooldowns down and then use them again. And actually, because of where the positioning of Bayou and Wrath were, Voldemar wasn't wasn't able to follow up on Kentisig, which forced Kentisig to go into the retreat.
It's one of the reasons we see Taka over Koshka, because he's got that Kaku, because he can get out of the fight. Like, as soon as you pouncy fund into the fight and use your Twirly Death, which are the funniest names to say as
the
a
best
shout
skill
cast.
names.
As soon as you've jumped in as Koshka, it's so difficult to get back out of the fight, and you really rely on your team to peel for you. It's why I like the Lance actually as a pick alongside it, because you jump in, you get the Impale in with the Lance as well, do all your damage, and then you can just Githyan and wall the enemy away.
No, I completely agree. Now SK looking for an engage. Raph gets the afterburn.
Afterburn onto Voldemar, they'll get the stun, they'll get the damage, they should get the kill as well. Raph incredibly low though, and Kentisig will take him down. 1-for-1 trade off an SK engage.
Yes, but they do pick up that ranged carry, so in another scenario where you get into a 2v2, Cream gets impaled.
Cream gets absolutely melted away with the twirly bun. Can they get him down? Yes, they can with the Lance. Another 1-for-1 trade between Avalanche and SK.
It just feels like this is going to be a 1-for-1 for the entire day, because obviously someone is going to be picking up the kill in this situation. If Cream had I think he'd had those sprint boots available actually. Maybe if he'd procced those sprint boots, he might have been able to get away from that final basic attack coming out from Bastion, and they would have been able to come out on top in a 2v1 there. But
probably thought it was just a joke poke, but instead it was a dab stab from Bastion, picking up the kill with that long.
I really wish I could count the amount of times that you've used that joke.
Mate, sometimes the best ones you have to use multiple times.
Yeah,
it's like why did the chicken cross the road? That's been used thousands of times, millions of times.
When is the last time that's been funny?
I can think of a few, but I'm not going to mention them on stream. SK Gaming, 4 kills to 2. It's only 100 gold between these two teams. About 5 minutes in, let's start looking at these itemization choices. Really interesting choice here from Voldemar that I want to talk about. Reflex block incredibly early on.
Yes, but that is something that I think you need as both versus Catherine and Glaive, because they're going to be looking to isolate you very easily with either the Afterburn or the Relentless Pursuit coming out from Catherine. So I'd love this early itemization in terms of reflex block from Voldemar. He is really going to be the main form of carry damage from the backline, so that should you force SK to try and retreat and look for a peel against Cream, then Voldemar will be free to do everything that he needs to without being truly focused by Raph or Bayou. So I like that early reflex block. The problem is you have to deal with 2 forms of CC here. So if SK are clever, they might be able to do enough, put enough pressure onto Voldemar that reflex block might not matter.
It's the combination we've seen time after time. You know, you afterburn in, you get the Merciless Pursuit. There's the reflex block used on the Merciless Pursuit, but it's a 40-second cooldown and Merciless Pursuit is up in 6. So they do have quite a large window of opportunities to try and put the damage down. Kentisig ever so slightly under-leveled. Raph has already hit 6, whereas still only level 5 and 3/4.
He's close to 6. There we go.
Get in.
He's got the Yummy Catnip Frenzy as well, and Cream hasn't yet picked up his own reflex block. I like the fact that Raph has picked up reflex block. I think he's basically saying, I don't want to get locked up in an Impale, because that will limit my opportunity to be effective with Afterburn. So he wants to be able to block the Afterburn, the Impale, so he can continue to land basic attacks and then land a good Afterburn afterwards.
Is Cream the target with the Yummy Catnip Frenzy? I think he's the most obvious target, but is he the one you want to lock out of the fight?
Depends how you want to blow. Voldemar.
Voldemar's going to get knocked in with the Afterburn, uses his reflex block to try and get away. But there's no escape. He'll die another day and go back to the Sanctuary.
Didn't see the flare. He didn't see the flare had basically revealed.
And that's the whole point of a flare.
I guess, well, he might have seen the flare, okay, but I guess he didn't realize that SK were that close. Yeah. And they did a very good job to just capitalize there. And you're right, maybe Cream isn't the target for the Yummy Catnip Frenzy here. Actually, if I were Snow Avalanche, I would be thinking about using it as a kiting tool. I would be thinking about using it as locking down Raph or Bayou. Maybe not Bayou, but more likely Raph. And then allowing Voldemar to be a little bit safer. That's maybe why you're seeing a reflex block come out early here from Raph, because he doesn't want to get targeted by either the Impale or the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. So it's harder to kite against him.
Voldemar actually looks like he's going for a classic Vox build here. It looks to be the Breaking Point double Tyrant's Monocle. So much crit, so much damage you can get down with that. I mean, he's got his minions for, at the moment, it could just be a single Tyrant's Monocle, but it can give you so much power if you use it correctly.
Yeah, this is a Vox build that we've seen a lot of. Vox is one of the weapon power carries that we sometimes see go multiple build paths. Sora Blade Breaking Point, like every other weapon power carry in the game, is something that we do sometimes see. But Voldemar, he has traditionally favored crit builds from Voldemar. You know, Breaking Point into double Tyrant's Monocle is something that Voldemar has played a lot of. So
could be critical to that success in this game. Bayou trying to put some damage down on towards Bastion. The look I get from you when I make jokes like that is awful. Anyway, good Githyan wall. The wait for it's going to come out, and here comes the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. It is on towards Raph. Great blast tremor though, and Voldemar gets taken down first. Raph will fall in.
Oh, the channel.
does get blocked out a little bit by Kentisik. Bastion will take some pain from Cream, but they should be able to back away. Kentisik's actually going to jump back onto Bayou and will take him down. Bayou did not expect the cat to put out that much pain with her claws.
Didn't have the energy for a Storm Guard, for a banner, sorry, a shield anyway, so the Storm Shield wasn't available for Bayou and wasn't on cooldown either, so just an immediate turnaround by Kentisik there, especially with the Shattered Glass first. He's got so much burst damage. Cream gets locked up.
Yeah, here comes Voldemar. Gonna see if he can get on towards that Adagio. Needs to be careful though, that Adagio. With the alternating current, Cream doing a huge amount of work. He can churn up his enemies pretty quickly, turn them into butter. But Voldemar and Snow Avalanche at the moment ever so slightly ahead. 600 gold the lead for them.
It's not worth it.
They can't see you shaking your head at me, so...
Well, yeah, I'm hoping everyone at home has the same reaction. No, Sona, no. But no, I actually really like Kentisic's build. I think over the Aftershock, maybe you value the straight-up burst damage more. With Taka, you can make more effective use of Aftershock because you have the ability to negotiate with Kaku, so you can jump in, proc it, Kaku, come back in, proc it. Whereas with Kentisik, I almost feel like it's a little bit more all or nothing. This is why I often prefer the Shatterglass build. You're going for straight burst damage, and you have a lot of it as Koshka, so there comes the wait for it.
Voldemar's going to get absolutely melted away. Raph jumps in with the Afterburn to take down the turret, and now Kentisik's in an awful position. Cream on top of him. Yummy Cabinet Frenzy will not connect as they take him down before that ultimate's finished channeling, and Bastion should be able to roll his way away.
That was just purely a mistake from Voldemar. Yeah. I don't think he really realized how much damage it took to take that turret down, which is one basic attack from Raph. And then he put himself right within firing range of both the Relentless Pursuit and the Afterburn, which means he could only reflex block one. I don't actually think he reflex blocked any. No. And ended up blown up there under the turret. Didn't have the support of his teammates. It was just an overstep. But you can see Kentisik's damage is pretty insane. Yeah. I would like to see early prioritization in shielding for Cream and for Raph. You've already got the Fountain and Bayou. I wouldn't be averse to potentially a double Fountain at some point, because the best way to sustain against burst damage is just to have continuous sustain. Yeah. So I
feel a little bit like Voldemar might be having a bit of first game jitters. Having Maybe. A bit of first game nerves. Because this is not the Voldemar we've seen in Challenger Series. It's not the Voldemar we saw in Evil 8 either. He's 0-5 on the Vox. Yes, he's been focused.
Yeah, that's my point. You know, the obvious prioritization for SK here has been Voldemar. Yeah. And actually, you can see that both Kentisik and Bastion have been able to get something out of that. You know, it depends on what you value here for SK. They seem to be making the right choices, but as this goes on, is Kentisik going to be more of a threat that you have to realize, or are you really going to be continuing to focus Voldemar?
Yeah, it definitely could be the option for them. They'll try and take down that Vox time and time again. They know they've only got burst damage coming out from the Koshka, so if they build a bit of shield, they can survive through that. And as well as that, you've got Bayou. Kentisik is going to jump in here. Look at the damage though. That's Blast Tremor Fountain used. Wait for it will come out as well. Raph trying to get on towards that cat, but not able to chase the Panther down. She's a cheater today, and she'll be able to cheat her way to victory. But they won't. The two members on again.
She'll be able to cheat her way to victory.
Obviously,
that's a horrible phrase to use.
I did not mean that. Obviously, I was trying to get Cheetah in there somehow. Obviously, I don't think that any of these teams cheat. I apologize.
Trying to make a pun too hard.
Yeah, I was trying to make a pun too hard. I apologize. None of these teams cheat.
I don't think Snow Avalanche would be too happy about that, Sona. Cheat her way to victory.
Okay. We forgot about the Iron Guard contract.
Yeah.
We forgot about that.
I'm only winding you up.
Yeah, I apologize.
It was a wordplay on cheater.
Yeah,
you didn't mean it.
I did not.
You can write a letter of apology afterwards.
I will. I'll write one and put it up on camera at some point. Anyway, Snow Avalanche ever so slightly behind here. 1,000 to 200 gold. The disadvantage for them. Crucible on Bastion. You've got the first time its monocle finished onto Voldemar. Got a Swift Suitor in his inventory. Could build up towards the second one.
I didn't even get to analyze that fight because I was too busy. I think the problem here for Team Snow is that when Kentisik jumps in, he hasn't actually prioritized that much defense. Yeah. And he's really only prioritized armor here. And he's getting a lot of pain when it comes to the damage output of the Adagio as well. And that, when he jumps in, Voldemar feels like he needs to follow up the damage because it doesn't look like Kentisik can make those executes happen by himself. So Voldemar feels like he needs to follow up, but Kentisik goes down too quickly, and then Voldemar instantaneously becomes a target when Kentisik jumps out.
But the target, though, they're getting a huge amount of pain on him. Triple silence as well. Yummy Captain Frenzy comes down. Voldemar, the target coming out from SK, but they should be able to retreat. Now Raph runs away up towards the side. They're going to turn and burn on towards Bayou. should be able to take down that Catherine. I mean, at the moment, it's Voldemar v Bayou. Bayou has that Storm Guard. Will bounce a lot of damage back on towards the box. Take him down with a Blast Tremor. Supportal Combat takes down one. Going to see if he can escape. Doesn't have the boots, doesn't have the War Chant. Great Impale across the wall. It's 2 for 1 in favor of Avalanche.
So that's right there is how Snow Avalanche need to play. Because if you can force out the early Reflex block or Crucible that isn't there yet, but maybe will be eventually. If you can force out the early Reflex block for Cream with just the Impale, then that leaves a very open target for Kentisik to make her Yummy Catnip Frenzy happen, which is what you saw there. It did eventually come down and they managed to take out Cream.
It's the power of the wait for it into it as well.
Absolutely. The wait for it was so good because it stopped any potential... Well, I think Reflex block had already been used, Aegis, but if that Aegis was there, then you block the ability to use that as well. So the wait for it into Yummy Catnip Frenzy is a perfect engage tool, but I also like forcing it with just the Impale as well, because you use Impale, yes, you commit yourself as a Lance, but if you immediately use Githyan Wall afterwards, then you really reduce the damage. Oh, Voldemar.
Voldemar once again steps forward, trying to trade into Bayou and Cream, and Raf's going to join the fray, has the Afterburn available, and Fountain has to be used by Bastion to keep his carry alive. It looks like Vodemar's going to build up towards the Bonesaw here, so not going that double Tyrant's build. I guess it makes sense. You've got double coated plates on the side of Raf and Bayou. SK looking for the turret as well. Having that Bonesaw just allows you to pressure it a bit more.
I think the Bonesaw is absolutely fine. Bastion commits hard with the Impale there, but like I said, Githyan Wall, such a good tactic at rectifying your mistakes. The Bonesaw here is good because both Catherine and Glaive do very well with armor. They're both heroes that you actually gain a lot from building the armor rather than just it being a necessity for defense. So I like the Bonesaw build here for Voldemar once he eventually finishes it.
Kentisik taking a huge amount of pain. Voldemar, the target Afterburn comes in. There's one Yummy Catnip onto Raph, but he's going to be able to tank up for days. They take down 2 members so quickly, and Bastion has to run away from the SK Gaming squad.
Voldemar, again, is making himself too easy of a target. They have their ways to play these fights, but Voldemar...
great Afterburn back.
Was so
Bastion
good,
has no escape. It's going to be an ace, actually.
It will be.
For SK Gaming. They can turn their eyes towards that gold mine as well. 20 seconds. They're going to go for the turret first. Maybe go back towards that Kraken, but with Voldemar and Kentisik up, it will be very, very risky.
I actually think Snow Avalanche have a team composition that when they play it right could potentially do well here. The problem is that as Kentisik, if you jump in, which you have to as Koshka to make your work as a hero, you're going to be an immediate target for the stun. Yeah. You're also going to be an immediate target for Raph if that's the case. And I just don't feel like Voldemar as weapon power is going to have enough damage or right now, to burn through people while Kentisik is soaking up the damage from SK. I feel like when Kentisik jumps in, he becomes that immediate target. Yeah. And I almost think that Snow Avalanche need to be the ones singling out Cream very early on and just blowing everything onto Cream, because the damage output from SK is pretty low. That's what you need to see happen. If Cream doesn't get touched by Snow Avalanche, they lose the fight every single time.
We've said that Glaive falls back behind in the later game. He's going to put some damage down onto Voldemar, who's already fallen. Yummy Catnip Frenzy onto Cream, but he can just heal himself up through the fight. SK winning out once again. Even off an engage from Snow Avalanche, they still take a 1-0.
It's too...
it's going to be 2. Kentisik has no escape here. Raf's too easy. Too easy.
It's too disjointed from Snow Avalanche right now. And also the fact that when that happens, Voldemar becomes isolated. And the fact that Raph is so far ahead, it's very easy for him to try and take down Voldemar right now. I don't actually think that Koshka has got the damage to single-handedly burst Cream out. That's why you're seeing Voldemar need to follow up. And especially the fact that Bastion jumped in with Impale, and there was not the immediate follow-up there from both Kentisik and Voldemar. There wasn't that immediate follow-up. So that just gave huge amounts of time for SK to think about how they wanted to approach the fight. And they do it every single time. They think, okay, actually, Cream's okay. Let's just kill Voldemar. And then you've just got, again, a Crystal Power Koshka who, yes, will do a lot of burst damage, but once her skill rotation is down, is almost useless. So it's kind of like both teams have this one target, which is the range carry. And right now, SK just have the tools and the damage to deal with the range carrier of Snow Avalanche that little bit better. And Snow Avalanche need to think about coordination when it comes to engaging these team fights a bit more.
The power of Koshka as well relies on a strong early game. You know, you're all about going in, harassing the enemy jungler, trying to take him down in the early game, scaling up to these late game items and being ahead. We've never really seen Kentisik get that far ahead in the game, and part of that as well because of the focus from SK onto Voldemar. Silence onto Bayou, does get the Blast Tremor down, Cream gets jumped on, but look at how low Kentisik is already. Cream so low off towards the side, they won't be able to take him out quickly in this fight. He keeps healing himself up.
Wow.
He'll survive. SK will take the ace as Bastion tries to retreat away, but with the Kraken pushing in, first game's going across towards SK.
SK Gaming. This is a different team from when we saw during the Evil 8, and they're going to put immediate pressure onto Snow Avalanche here. That last fight there was SK playing a perfect lead. Everybody providing that frontline defense for Adagio. They're just blocking him out. And then as soon as anybody starts to jump in, they don't commit too many of their resources. They've just applied damage instantaneously. They force the reflex block very early from Voldemar, so he feels a little bit restricted moving towards the glaive. And like you said, the heals on Adagio were just out-sustaining the damage that Kentisik can put down. You saw, again, it's what I said right at the start. With this Koshka, Voldemar felt like he had to follow up, which just plays right into a Catherine and glaive. Like, you felt like you had to follow up to kill Adagio because the damage output from Kentisik just wasn't there. And you don't want to be in the middle.
Well, coming through into the draft for game number 2, it looks like they're currently thinking of getting rid of this Adagio.
Yeah, I don't think they need to worry too much about getting rid of the Koshka or the Vox. The performance there on those two heroes is not something that I think SK Gaming is really respecting right now. They seem to be a team that's more focused around the current popular picks in the meta, the priorities of this patch, and Adagio comes off the board.
And we'll see if that Samuel or Lyra end up making an appearance here in this series, but there goes the Lance, so both of those picks are still available.
Yeah, Lance is kind of a rare B-side ban. We don't see that very often, mostly because you don't see him first picked very often, so a lot of times your B-side teams can pick him up if they want to run him in either a flex role, carry role, but with Lance coming off, you're gonna now look at the first pick, and it is the Finn.
It's all Fnatic, man.
Finn is going to be the first pick. Again, Lyra Samuel still available. A super strong combo. We've seen it work multiple times, and well, it looks like they are going to be considering the Samuel here for Snow Avalanche.
Yeah, it does. And I do like the Finn pick first because when you do grab this character, it allows you to kind of wait, see what the other team does. It's a very safe pick. You can play a lot of things with it. And Lyra coming out on the Avalanche's side, this is a little closer to what we would usually see in terms of a draft scenario. It looks pretty similar to things in the past. Now, what they pair with the Lyra, that is the big question. Do they let the Samuel through to SK Gaming, or do they take it away? They go for the glaive, so they say glaive is a more important pick for us right now.
Yeah, well, they're going to be looking to have those hard engages regardless of what SK picks, and I feel like glaive is usually better off as a last pick type of situation, or third pick on A side, because you want to know what your opponents are going to have. If you have an objective for that hard engage in the lane, there's a little bit of rhyme hover there, but it ends up being the Ringo, another kind of really surprising pickup.
It is the Ringo. I'm a little curious to why this pickup is coming through, simply just because I do think there are like a little bit stronger picks, and we have the Koshka, so we've got a Ringo and a Koshka, typically kind of the early game.
Just missing the fortress.
We have a Finn who's kind of the mid to late game, a little bit of a mix and match. We'll have to see what they plan on doing. Koshka Finn pairings are usually pretty rare.
Oh boy. Oh man. This is, he's just like, I'm just going to throw out all my notes on the meta when these two teams play, apparently.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll have to do the same.
Ringo was locked in, and Koshka was locked in after it lost the last game. I don't understand what is going on in the Halcyon Fold, but these two teams do. It's 1-0 to SK Gaming over Team Snow Avalanche.
Cinematic
it's
shots.
the wrong way around.
Yeah. It's some cinematic shots right here.
Look at that, man. I actually think Finn and the Treants are related.
Potentially.
Distant relatives.
I thought Finn and Kraken was related, but anyway, let's do a little bit of delving into these compositions and why we're tending to see them. Ringo is going to have a hard time against Voldemar in lane on Saw. Voldemar is probably one of the best Saws in Europe, up there with Cavalify. It was something that he has been known for, as obviously previously known as Best Celeste EU, but now known as Voldemar, has made a name for himself with Saw. Bastion looking to apply pressure to Cream here, and Cream forced to use a very early
strength
pop.
of Lyra, though, isn't it? It's something we see time after time. We actually saw them bringing Kentisik up as well to try and make a play, try and get that afterburning, because the slow is just as good as a Merciless Pursuit stun. Cream already forced back. Bayou's going to join the fray here. Of course, doesn't have the Polite Company, although he just hit level 2, so now we'll have it, to give that fortified health across towards his laner and try and keep him alive. So
Snow Avalanche playing a very classic Saw composition in the sense that you're just applying pressure very early on, and Cream's wave clear is going to be pretty low as a Ringo. So as a Saw, that magic number is 5 minutes. You want to have at least taken that first turret by then, especially as the weapon power variant. And I would expect this will be weapon power variant, even if we've got Kentisik on this glaive.
Wrath's going to take a huge amount of pain from Kentisik, and he walks straight into Bastion, who says, hello, Panther takes him down. I thought poaching was illegal.
Well, Bayou going to try and land the quibble, but a nice jump out by Voldemar will keep him safe. Something I want to point out there with that small move that you saw, you can try this one at home, kids, is if the support one walks into lane and tries to support the laner, that gives you free reign to go into the enemy jungle with your own support, especially if the wave is pushing towards your their first tier turret. It means that you can do exactly what Bastion and Kentisik did, because you have the ability to go 2 versus 1 in the enemy jungle as the enemy support and laner are stuck under their turret. So it gives you that ability, especially if you're very healthy too.
Lyra is so strong into that Koshka. Going to put the pain down. Flight company from Bayou, but he'll fall again. Good Bayou indeed. Excoundrel, Raph, and Cream going to see if they can get anything out of this one, but Snow Avalanche already start that snowball rolling down the mountain.
Saw beginning to break through the wood. Cut through the real brunt of this lane as Raph comes through, takes a lot of damage here.
Huge amount of pain. Voldemar will escape the turret aggro with that Rody run, just get himself away towards safety. They've done a good job of protecting the turret, though. We're 3 minutes in, hardly any damage onto that turret already. But Raph and Bayou haven't got that farm, haven't got that experience they'd like.
Okay, Kentisik now sees Bayou is going to walk away here. Do you know what I've always found funny, Sonny? Those turrets look fairly sturdy. You'd think that they'd be able to resist the pressure of a Saw, but Saw is probably one of the best heroes to take it down.
Yeah, incredibly strong. Could be like you know those water jet saws that you have?
Oh yeah, like the real...
That goes straight through things.
Reduce the temperature of the blade as it cuts through. That's the... that could
I think
be.
It's probably one of those ones. And like you look at the turret, yes, it looks...
It's not Pool Party Saw though, is it?
It's not Pool Party Saw, that's true. He's got Cybotic Saw. Voldemar will take some pain here. The quibble not quite connecting. Cream's going to step forward.
You mean definitely not Terminator Saw?
Definitely not Terminator Saw, Cyborg Saw. Going to put the pain down onto Raph as well. Bastion standing in the lane, and this allows Kentisik some time to farm up for himself. Sitting on 17, got triple weapon blade as well, so going for presumably that slower blade build, and Voldemar already got the heavy seal and the 6-ins for himself. They're looking for the turret. Still a minute left on that clock, but SK doing a really good job of defending it. Yeah, so this is something that's interesting about double weapon power. We haven't seen it for quite a long time. We saw a lot of double weapon power. I think it was the last first split of the Evil 8 and last NA Spring Live Championships.
Yeah, and NA Spring Live Championships, we started to see the real emergence of double weapon power. It was all about the double bone saw Sorrow Blade for both carries, but we started to see less and less of that recently. Either just because of the way the meta has evolved, you started to see picks that are trying to counter the double weapon power coming through, and now you're starting to see Snow Avalanche test this double weapon power once more.
And because you've got double weapon power and you know you can get some sustain by picking up a Book of Eulogies. Actually, they take the turret at 4 minutes 40. Great job by them. Cream will get pushed back. Because you've got double weapon blade, double weapon power, and you can get Book of Eulogies on them for the sustain.
Yeah.
Actually, Lyra's gone for a Crucible first instead of a Fountain.
Yeah, we're not seeing any Book of Eulogies thus far. I think the Crucible is being prioritized early on because you don't want to get to level 6 and get pulled in and get destroyed. Especially as a Saw, you need to provide that layer of protection for him. And he doesn't feel like he wanted to invest into reflex block before finishing that Sorrow Blade. So Bastion making the decision that actually we probably aren't going to fight. Like the point of this composition with Snow Avalanche is that actually they're probably not going to be looking for a fight. They just want to try and push down objectives. So if they can block the engaging method of either Yummy Catnip Frenzy or the Forced Accord, then they're going to feel pretty comfortable. It's only later on that you maybe need to think about getting that Fountain. So I like this itemization choice in Bastion. It provides that layer of protection that you need to siege turrets effectively, because when are you most vulnerable to a Fin hook or in lane? When are you most vulnerable? When you're sieging a turret. I was going to give you the answer, I just gave it to you. When you're sieging a turret, often is when you're most vulnerable to getting hooked in by Forced Accord. So getting that early allows this siege to take place here from Snow Avalanche.
It definitely does. And there's a reflex block on Voldemar as well, so they're starting to stack their own up for that Yummy Catnip Frenzy or for that Forced Accord. Bayou yet to even complete his Fountain. Just got it for himself now and a couple of scout traps in his inventory. We're going to see Snow Avalanche go for this push comp once again. It's something we saw a lot from Team Secret a couple of splits ago. And Snow Avalanche trying to make it their own here against SK Gaming. SK definitely on the back foot, trying to work their way around this, try and work out how they really want to play this composition.
They can't commit without being level 6 on Bayou, I don't think, which is why every time you see the poke coming down from Voldemar and Bastion, SK can't do anything but run away. And also now they've lost a fairly hefty engage tool in the form of the boots and the sprint boots on Bayou, so now they're almost forced to just take this pressure from Snow Avalanche right now.
Bayou is halfway there to level 6. He's living on a prayer for the moment, but in a few moments those prayers may become a reality for them. Good polite company will stop Kentisik being able to chase on towards Raph, and SK just trying to defend their inner turret. It looks like Snow Avalanche are continuing this push. Slightly under-leveled, really, because of the amount of time they've all spent in the lane together. Raf's going to take some pain, polite company. Voldemar gets brought underneath the turret and doesn't quite have the sustain he'd like, but there's the Imperial Sigil, and Bastion just heals him up to full HP. Doesn't have sustain, here's a heal.
And this is what you're seeing in the first item, Crucible, is that they basically have this insurance policy that if they're sieging and Bio hits 6 during siege, they know that they're not going to get dragged under turret as long as Bastion is quick with his reflexes. There you go.
There we are. He is quick enough with his reflexes indeed. Raf does, of course, have that Yummy Cabinet Frenzy, but he doesn't really want to be jumping onto Kentasik. He wants to be trying to focus down that Saw, who will just terminate his ability to do that.
Interesting that we've gone, obviously we're seeing a weapon power Ringo here, trying to contend with, I guess, the early game of Saw. Now, Ringo can actually build a later game build, and we've sometimes seen him go directly into a breaking point next, which gives him kind of the longevity as a weapon power carry, a little bit more than you would expect previously from Ringo's, especially because Ringo, I think the very old school Ringo builders, some of them would actually literally go tension bow, and you know, they'd really ramp up the early game pressure. But Ringo has kind of evolved into a more of a mid-game carry as well. Raf going to get locked up.
Kentasik actually knocks Raf away. Snow Avalanche do not want this fight. They want to back away. They want to stay away from that Force Accord, which is coming up in a couple of seconds. Voldemar had already used Roadie Run to try and get himself away. Has used Mad Cannon as well, but they'll just be able to put some damage down onto Cream and clear out this wave with that.
Yeah, Mad Cannon comes through, starts to do some splash damage onto the wave, and thus begins the process once more. Snow Avalanche continuing to build that snowball in lane, looking to work towards that tier 2 turret as Voldemar runs through with Roadie Run to take away some forward camps here from SK Gaming. And also Snow Avalanche don't want to fight in a full-on fight against this composition, especially because of the immobility of Saw. It makes him vulnerable to Ringo's basic attack range, it makes him vulnerable to Bayou, it makes him vulnerable to Raf. And especially without Fountain, it would be a very poor decision to try and go for it. Gonna be the Bonesaw being locked in, and actually Tyrant's monocle for Kentasik, so they're going to rely on, well, that makes a lot of sense to me, because obviously stacks are going to be built up far quicker by Waldemar than they would be built up by Kentasik, so why not just add a little bit extra in terms of damage threat coming out from Kentasik, having that Tyrant's monocle.
He's got the afterburn, just gets himself away, too easy for Kentasik.
I would have loved to have started that fight with Tyrant's monocle.
Tyrant's monocle, Voldemar is the target, and he will go down so incredibly fast. Raf able to melt him away with that Shadow Glass. Hellfire Brew onto Kentasik is blocked away by him, not able to collect the polite company today, but it shows Voldemar does fall incredibly quickly if you can get on top of him.
Yeah, he really needs that Yummy Catnip Frenzy blocked. It's a difficult skill sometimes to block, you know, it can happen just instantaneously, so Voldemar unable to have the reflexes to pick up that reflex block and will get picked off. I think that is one of the real issues here, that if he does get locked up by either Forced Accord, Quibble, or, you know, Yummy Catnip Frenzy, it's going to be easy pickings for SK, and that kind of ruins the majority of the composition here for Snow Avalanche. It really depends whether he can actually use that reflex block.
They're going to look for the engage. Cream gets knocked back, and Voldemar should eat through Ringo's health. Look at the damage coming out from him. But Raf jumps in. Can he take him down? No, Sword just about escaping off towards the side.
Oh.
Mad Cannon, not quite enough. Now Bayou, the last man standing for SK. Snow Avalanche should be able to take down the River Troller once again. It's an ace for Avalanche.
They should be able to get Goldmine off here, who maybe they want to leave it a little bit longer, actually. That is only half full right now. So probably more efficient to go and steal away as many camps as possible from the SK Gaming side, which is what is going to happen here for Snow Avalanche.
And look at Raf's build path as well. He's moved away from getting Crystal Power. He's gone for Shadow Glass first, and then he's like, I'm jumping onto Voldemar. What do I need? I need an Atlas Pauldron for myself.
Super, I think, sensible decision in terms of Mitre build coming out from Raf, because at this point, if you manage to land Yummy Catnip Frenzy, you have enough damage and enough reliability from Finn and Ringo that you probably don't need to be the one doing the majority of the damage. So just slowing down that attack speed from Saw is probably far more relevant.
That skin always gets me. It's the way that she stalks through the bushes. It's like it's something out of the Pink Panther. It's like it would help if we were actually looking at
I know.
Anyway, Snow Avalanche gonna
next time
put the pressure down here onto SK. Raf stalking through the bush. Anyway, we're going to see Voldemar try and put that suppressing fire down. There's the Force Accord. We'll get blocked out with the Crucible. Still an Aegis and a reflex block inside of Snow Avalanche. So they do have the ability to get rid of that Yummy Catnip Frenzy.
Yeah, they do indeed. They're going to need that Aegis to make sure that gets blocked out. Think Voldemar needs to accelerate towards this Bonesaw. 2 Atlas Pauldrons finish, as well as a coat of plates for Cream. So burning through the armor would be preferable right now for Snow Avalanche. They have got time, though. It's only 1 point in Forced Accord right now. So, you know, it's long cooldowns here for Bayou.
It's going to step forward, put some pain onto Raf, will back away. Good bright bulwark will stop SK Gaming in their tracks. But in 25 seconds, you've got a Forced Accord back up and available.
Snow Avalanche don't really want to fight, though. This is the issue. I really just don't think that they do well in a full-on team-fight situation. So they want to continually look to disengage. They want to make sure that they've got enough protection to allow Voldemar to siege. And they need to continue what they're doing best, which is just taking objectives. And you see that there. They get the gold mine. They finish up the Bone Saw for Voldemar. And now they can push towards that second-tier turret. They have been very reluctant to get into 3 versus 3s because of the inability of Voldemar, because he becomes so vulnerable to almost every hard-hitting ability from SK Gaming, you know, Hellfire Brew, everything that Finn has to offer, and even Raf to an extent. They don't want to get forced into these full-on 3v3s.
Definitely not. Voldemar's going to step forward once again. Kentisik there off towards the side. Raf is really the main person in these fights. Forced Accord does block out some of the damage, but look at the damage coming down onto Raf in response. Voldemar's going to try and run away. The Fountain used. And Fountain counter is used by SK as well. Raf's going to take some pain. Hellfire Brew comes out. Kentisik does take down the cat. And now they can see if they can turn this one around. Cream is low on energy, but he's got enough damage in his auto attacks to force Snow Avalanche away.
A 1-for-1 despite Voldemar. Oh wow, Bastion goes in.
Bulwark. Kentisik's going to rejoin the fray. Will knock back Cream, but a great cribble from Bayou will take him incredibly low, and now Cream will get the target. There is the damage coming down onto the Ringo. They should be able to take him out. It's an ace for Team SK.
I agree, Senna. What a great cribble. I love the cribble.
Hey, I'm a big fan of cribble.
Anyway, that was, for me, Bayou's prediction in terms of where, obviously, Afterburn was going to land up. It was so good from him. They draw Voldemar in once more.
That they do good Forced Accord, but Cream actually gets taken incredibly low by that Saw. Bayou's going to have to retreat away as well. Can't really help his Sword do too much.
I just praised him for a brilliant quibble placement onto Kentisik, which allowed them to win the fight.
They get the target.
Yeah, but then they end up missing a pretty point-blank quibble onto Voldemar.
Quibble's hard. He's good at landing his quibbles.
His cribbles, but not his quibbles. No.
You know, sometimes it's difficult. Has got War Treads now as well, so it allows him to engage a little bit easier. Double Hourglass for that cooldown reduction. And actually, we see Cream going breaking point now towards his Bone Saw as well. So Cream's going to be trying to melt away the armor that is kind of being built up on Bastion. I guess he's got a light armor for himself, so a little bit of armor there.
So Kentisik just taking away some forward camps. He's still building towards a very heavy offensive build here. Bastion's going to get locked up by Kenny.
Raf's going to jump on towards Bastion. So much pain there. Arcane Passage used to get away. Voldemar needs to think about if he wants to join this fray because Raf is on a rampage looking for the kills. Can he be the Jungle Panther? Yes, he can. Takes him down. Forced Accord does not quite connect, and Cream's going to take a mad cannon to the face. But here comes Raf from the side. Voldemar will survive. The Fountain just about keeps him alive. There's the Imperial Sigil as well to heal him up. And Cream and Bayou have to retreat away.
I'm worrying for Kentisik right now. You're seeing how quickly Cream is able to burst through. Bastion moves forward here.
I'm worrying for Cream ever so slightly because Voldemar and Bastion are looking for the fight. Actually, it could be Bayou. Cream's going to escape. Bayou will get away as well.
Cream and Bayou now able to escape here. I am kind of worried though for Kentisik. He hasn't prioritized any defense right now. He's just going all in aggressive. I guess for the single sole point that he either needs to burst Raf with Voldemar if it comes to a team fight, or they need to take out Cream in the back line very quickly. So essentially going towards what I think is going to be a Bone Saw himself. And he's saying, it's all or nothing. I need to land crits. I need to get big splash damage crits. I need to be able to burn through this Ringo ASAP or through Raf. And I need the Bone Saw to do it as well because I need to make sure I'm getting through those Atlas Pauldrons and a full metal coming out from Cream. So very, very good defensive prioritization coming out from SK Gaming as well. Has maybe limited their offensive capabilities. It just comes down to how effective these Bone Saws are going to be for Snow Avalanche. Can they make those defensive itemizations, you know, become less effective and less gold effective in terms of the investment that SK have put in for them?
It's really about how well they use their Atlas Pauldrons as well. Forced Accord will come down. Raf will take some pain. There's the Yummy Cabinet Frenzy blocked out by Voldemar, and Raf will fall incredibly quickly. Great block on the Yummy Cabinet. They're going to jump onto Cream as well. Voldemar decides he wants Bayou instead. Will chase that River Troll up towards the top side. Put a huge amount of pain down. Use the Imperial Sigil to speed himself up. Cream just about able to get away. Not quite reached his best before date yet. but pretty soon he might be have to chucked off the shelves.
Well, this is the problem for SK, and I think you're starting to see maybe why these offensive itemization builds are coming through for Snow Avalanche. If Raph jumps in by himself into the middle of the 3 of the Snow Avalanche members, even with these Atlas Pauldrons getting absolutely destroyed by Kentisik and Voldemar, there is a moment of about 3 seconds where he survives during the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, and unless SK Gaming are immediately there to land a quibble following that to try and chain CC, you're just going to get annihilated. This is the problem. Raph saw an opportunity, and the rest of his team weren't in a position to be on the same page. I would have liked to see Bio go War Treads. I think, actually, has he gone? Yeah, he has gone War Treads. I just can't see. He has gone War Treads. And you need to use War Treads immediately after Yummy Catnip Frenzy. And then obviously allow Cream and Bayou to get into a position where they can just hit big hitting quibbles. Because had a 3-man quibble come down there for SK Gaming, because it was perfectly possible.
Voldemar doesn't block it out. He will block the quibble and will try and Brody run away. The Kraken's still pushing in here. SK looking for the fight. Gonna see if they can jump in. Raph will, but get knocked back by the Afterburn. Now Voldemar the target. Raph taking a huge amount of pain. Voldemar still alive. 2-man quibble will get him down. Kentisik, the new target here for Cream and Bayou. They can see if they can get the chase, but the Afterburn will get them away, and they're slowed up by the Bright Bulwark. Once again, the Force Accord lands onto Bastion. They won't quite take him down. They'll chase him out with that Imperial Sigil. Achilles shot comes down as well to slow him out. The Kraken is still pushing in here. It's taken 1 turret already, so they'll have to back away, but they are able to turn the team fight around.
This is why I think the build from Snow Avalanche is super risky. If they get any form of CC landed onto them following the use of the Crucible or their reflex blocks, they're just going to get annihilated. You saw Glaive, who we traditionally see as a fairly beefy but moderate damage dealing frontliner. If he doesn't blow someone up immediately, the damage that Ringo outputs onto him just blows through his health just ridiculously quickly. And this is the issue for me. If you're put into a position where you can actually get Bayou and Raph on the same page, where they're both in the midst of a team fight, you can land big hitting heavy CCs with Quibble, because the majority of Snow Avalanche are trying to either body block for Voldemar or group up, so it makes them moderately vulnerable to this kind of play. Then you're in a position where you're risking not getting hit by CC, and if you do get hit by CC, you end up losing.
Now Voldemar's gone for the Aegis and the reflex block, and here comes the engage by Bastion. Voldemar will get pulled in, blocks out 1, blocks out 2, gonna get the damage down, they'll take down Cream. That Cream's gone off, and now Raph is the new target. Voldemar goes incredibly low, but just about survives with the roadie run, gets himself out alive, and now Kentisik and Bastion should be able to chase down Bayou for the ace.
They should get the ace here. Snow Avalanche looking very good. And actually probably going to push for the win. Given how much work Kraken has done, this should be tying up the series. Just as I talked about how SK Gaming looked like they're coming back into it, Kentisik performed what I think he should have been doing for a long time, which was essentially, giving up on Saw. Just allow Saw to do as much damage as he can while he's being focused. And with the damage build that he's got, just ignore everything and go for Cream. And that's exactly what he did there. And eventually decided that, hey, we don't need to bother about Koshka, because it's Koshka, right? She's not built too heavy in terms of offense. She's kind of gone half defense, half offense. Let Koshka try and get his Saw down. I can actually kill Ringo in a matter of seconds. So you saw Kentisik right at the end there say, actually, it's better for me to go straight for the Ringo than try and deal with the Koshka, because as soon as Ringo's down, damage output is just next to none from SK Gaming. So it was better play coming out from Snow Avalanche there. I think Kentisik made the right decision to go for Ringo. He should have been doing that a lot earlier given his build, but better late than never. Takes the Ringo out and win the game.
Well, have SK Gaming and Cream reached their best before date? Have they gone off? Will they have to be taken off the shelves? Or will it be Snow Avalanche melting underneath the pressure coming out here from SK? That's the big question. We're going to a best of 3. Analysts, take it away.
Right here.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Pretty interesting trying to figure out, what's going on in these guys' heads as you see them prepping for this draft. And this is going to be a big one. It's, again, last game of the day. This is what people are going to be hanging on to until we come back tomorrow.
And as we get into the draft, it looks like we're going back to some more common meta strategies with a Lance ban on A side. We see that a lot. Lyra ban on B side, a very popular B side ban.
Adagio,
and then the first pick Adagio. Yeah, so we've been here many, many times with
yeah, well,
2016.
Still Samuel. Well, not quite yet. Samuel is still available and still not being instantly locked in on this side, and it's going to be Catherine, Finn, maybe Finn.
Finn coming in. Catherine can also be a really good pickup. We know a lot of teams struggle blocking her ultimate. It is a very difficult thing to do, so it puts an extra bit of pressure on the enemy if you do pick her up. But I like separating the Finn from the Adagio. Those two together can make some comps that are very hard to deal with.
Yeah, and the Sky going to be grabbed there for SK as well. Again, another very powerful pick that a lot of teams have been using. Hasn't seen a ton of success here today, but it is definitely a pick that has a high win rate. But again, no Samuel thus far.
Yeah, it may just be that these teams have not practiced.
There he is.
Oh, there it is. So we do have a Samuel pickup on Avalanche, but the key is like who's going to roam.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. All three of these can roam, and we have seen all three roam. Actually, we haven't seen the Samuel roam. We've heard of the Samuel roam, but we haven't seen it.
So if Rhyme comes through on the SK side, this is going to be a very interesting wrap. Okay, it is the Rhyme. So Rhyme getting to the Adagio and Glaive can be a pretty big deal. Obviously, you've got a lot of mobility on the Sky. It's just going to come down to whether they can execute these unique comps or not.
Well, quite the plethora of characters. One last time, the beautiful faces of Sona and Scoundrel.
Cheers, Famalam. Having Scoundrel and Sona, we're ready to go through this final game of the best of three. Sorry, Sona's just telling me I should come up with the most inventive ways.
Cheers, Famalam.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got the final game of this best of three here between SK Gaming and Snow Avalanche. And it is a throwback to Gamescom when me and Sona were doing some commentating between G2 and SK. They bring out the Rhyme.
They played an incredible jungle Rhyme. It worked amazingly well for them. However, they didn't play it into a Samuel. And I feel Samuel into Rhyme is really powerful because of his kiting ability. All you need to do is get a Frostburn, all you need to do is put Drifting Dark behind you, and all you need to do is spam that A until the cows come home.
So one of the big things that we saw SK do with Rhyme against especially ranged carries is, you know, traditionally people have said Rhyme super good against melee carries but sucks into ranged. But what we traditionally saw is that you had a lot of combo with Valkyrie into Force Accord. So Valkyrie would come down, you force the Reflex Block or Crucible, and then Force Accord comes through immediately. And it's all about the combo with Rhyme, and you don't necessarily pick him for his own sole ability. But against a Glaive, Rhyme actually has a lot of merit regardless. So I'm looking forward to seeing Raph play Rhyme here. It has been, I think, a pocket pick for SK. They did show it at Gamescom. It had huge success, 100% win rate versus G2. Actually, I think they had 100% win rate versus G2 regardless. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see Raph perform here.
The other strength of Rhyme is, of course, I think it was 121 or 120. His Winter Spire was changed so that the initial burst damage is a lot higher, so he's a lot stronger into ranged heroes.
Exactly, so you aren't as punished for not getting that second part of his Winter Spire off against ranged carries, so it just makes him a little bit more consistent in terms of his damage output. Also the fact that, Raph will probably be building up fortified health very quickly. You can do that with your basic attacks, obviously. And then if you get people close enough, you can also root them down as well. And you saw the combo with SKs, they would always force out Reflex Block and then follow up with a Valkyrie, or always follow up a Valkyrie and follow up with a Force Accord.
So one thing we haven't quite touched on yet, Scoundrel, it's Adagio as roam. Something we really haven't seen that commonly at all since about 116, 115.
And that's usually when Adagio is picked to have an influence on a basic attack carry using Agent of Wrath. Not going to have the same kind of impact here with a Glaive. And actually his damage output will be a lot lower too. So you're really using it, I think, for the heal as much as you can, and then obviously Verse of Judgment, which can be fairly influential.
Especially against a melee jungler.
Absolutely. Against two melees, Verse of Judgment can be huge here. So seeing a roam Adagio, sometimes you pick it because you want to take Adagio off the table for the enemy team and then you make it work in a roam position. But again, it's probably the weakest position for an Adagio right now. We'll have to see how he makes it work.
It's just such an odd pick. Part of it might be trying to take it away from SK, making sure that they weren't able to take the Adagio for themselves, because an Adagio in lane with a Rhyme would be incredibly powerful. Kenstick will take some pain here from Raph, and we can look at that. That's the fortified health we're talking about. Kenstick is trading evenly into Raph, but because of the fortified health, he's actually losing out the fight.
Bastion gets spotted out here.
Winter Spire will be available, and he'll have the chill wins if he can get the stun down.
What a polite company.
There's the first kill. What a polite company indeed.
Yeah, that was the combo you see. The synergy here between Bio and Raph, especially with these two specific heroes, is very strong. Polite company pulling Adagio back into the second proc of that Winter Spire. Very, very nice play. Bio predicting Kenstick to move down, doesn't do so.
a missed quibble. Perhaps just an agreement, I guess, is a missed quibble.
An agreement, yes, a missed quibble is an agreement. Let's not quibble about this, though, Sona, as we move forward. I am very much looking forward to seeing, you know, how these progress, because you can see here Raph investing in early armor. He's really prioritizing that ability to go toe-to-toe with Kentisik using that fortified health. Has also picked up some early crystal power in the form of the heavy prism. So honestly, I'm expecting this to be a very tough situation for Snow Avalanche to try and overcome. I don't think many people have practiced playing against Rhyme recently, and especially the fact that Raph has had this in his back pocket as a pick for, well, apparently for quite some weeks, because we saw it at Gamescom and he'd obviously been practicing it before then. Definitely just looking for the right chat or the right time to bring that one out.
Definitely waiting for that opportune moment to crack out the Thunder God and see how it works on the Halcyon Fold. The problem is, of course, he needs those Halcyon potions, because sometimes Rhyme does feel a little bit Thor, so you need to be able to heal yourself up through the Thorness.
Yeah, and you just give me a thumbs up there, but I'm not going to dignify it with a response.
That was a weak pun. We're getting to 10 o'clock at night here. Raph is going to get into the midst of the Snow Avalanche jungle. Will take some pain, but has the Valkyrie. There it comes. Now Bayou's going to see if he can get the Polite Company double Winter Spire connection. Here's the Drifting Dark from Voldemar, though, and Raph has to back away. Look at how under-leveled Kentisik is, though. He's only level 5 to the level 6 of Raph.
And actually,
he's going to jump in. There's the Afterburn Cream now in the midst of all 3 members of Avalanche. But look at the damage melted away by Raph. He's going to chase down Voldemar as well. One poke with that stick will take him out, and he'll survive. Oh, what play here by SK Gaming, cracking out the Rhyme after a series of odd drafts, to say the least. They crack out this special pick, they crack out the pocket pick, and they crack out the lead in the early game.
So I also want to pick up on the fact that Koshka was touted as potentially one of the best junglers in the game, currently sitting at a 0% win rate so far across the European.
Yeah, it's 2 games.
Yeah, I know, but
if this was a scientific study, no one would merit you with a response.
No, it's not significantly in.
What are your p-values, Scoundrel? What are your p-values?
My p-value should be 0.95, but it wasn't going to be 0.95 with 2 intros.
0.05, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
that's my confidence interval.
We do see Snow Avalanche a little bit behind in this game, about 1,000 gold the lead for SK. It's all on Raph. He's the one putting in the early work, putting in the groundwork, and actually...
Shatterglass on
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Usually we only see that out of jungle skies. They tend to go for Frostburn first. I think, in my opinion, Frostburn may have been better in this composition.
I don't know. You've got a lot of slow coming out from Bayou and coming out from Raph as well. So I actually think in this situation, just go for the burst. You know, you're going to lock people up with Force to Cord, Quibble, and Valkyrie. So why not just burst as much as possible? This is going to be, you're going to have the best opportunity as a Sky with a Rhyme to get people in one place for the longest period of time.
Oh, they're all grouping up for this Winter Spire. There's the Chill Winds as well. Voldemar pops the Drifting Dark down to see if he can turn onto Raph. There's the Afterburn. They've gone for Raph, but the Fountain heals him up, and he just about escapes down towards the bottom side.
How did that happen?
They always said the Norse gods were immortal. Well, Raph is showing it thus far in this game, just about escaping with his life, time after time, bringing Molyneux with him. Just being able to survive these fights. Now Kentisic's going to look for the pressure. Winter Spire comes down, doesn't connect twice, only the once, but here comes Scream, still level 5, going to see what he can do. Kentisik has hit that level 6 mark, has the Bloodsong available, bashing off towards the side, has to try and get away from SK here, but Voldemar's going to join the fray as well. We're going to see the damage coming down from both sides.
Dark.
Drifting Dark went the wrong way, but it's all right for now. Thought they were going to chase onto him. Now Cream is 6. Going to look to see if he can get that lock on down. Raph will try and keep himself alive. Bayou has to retreat away. 17 seconds left on that fountain. Snow Avalanche still want a fight here. They're going to put the pain down with the forward barrage. Raph getting chased off by Bastion off towards the side. He could turn and burn on this one if he wants, but Cream has fallen. And Raph and Bayou just have to try and get away from the Avalanche squad. They're looking for it. Drifting Dark comes down. Raph going for the tree and will heal himself up a little bit, but one more Malice Inversion will be enough to take him down. Force the Cord drags him in as well, but Bayou says, thank you very much. I like some polite company underneath my turret as Snow Avalanche retreat away.
I think SK at that point were really overestimating how far they were ahead.
They were greedy. They
were all so low and they were looking for an engage to happen. The issue that you do have with SK is you are thoroughly outranged just by Voldemar alone. So if you aren't able to find a position where you're starting to force a fight where you can very easily get onto Kentisik and Bastion and force Voldemar to react, you're just going to lose the poke war versus a Samuel. But Cream, you know, was in that backline. He was trying to do as much damage as possible, but they were just healing that one up through Bastion, and they also had that fountain as well. well. So it was too difficult at this point in time, especially with how low Raph was, because Raph wants to commit, right? You want to commit as a Rhyme. If you're low, you're going to be reluctant to do so, and that's what you saw from Raph. He was reluctant to get in there and start using Winter Spires because he was too low, and that was SK just looking for a fight when they probably shouldn't have been.
And that's exactly the reason he's built up this Eve of Harvest. He wants to keep himself sustained throughout the fights. He wants to be able to put that damage down time after time.
Absolutely.
And if he can keep the sustain match with Voldemar's inherent sustain, the Force Accord comes down. There's the Valkyrie, will be blocked out. Gets some damage down in response, but Voldemar able to escape away, and it looks like SK are not in quite as good a position as they were just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, the combo of this CC is good, but they need to make sure they time it correctly because, you know, reflex block there for Voldemar. He missed the Quibble, and he managed to reflex block out the Valkyrie, so he was very safe moving backwards with that Drifting Darkness as well. Cream unable to land a death from above also, so it was a difficult situation. But that's kind of what you want to see from Bayou. If you're not gonna use the reflex block on the Forced Accord, then you're going to be using it on, you know, the Valkyrie or whatever. You know, you want to interchange those skills in terms of forcing defensive maneuvers from Snow Avalanche.
Broken Myth just completed on to Voldemar. He's got his own reflex block, of course. We see the Crucible coming out from Bastion and that Fountain. This Rome Adagio's done a pretty good job, in all honesty, doing a relatively good job of keeping Snow Avalanche alive. Their risk always is, like, I think the reason we don't see Rome Adagio as much as we used to is that he's just so much better played in lane or as a jungler. He's so much more powerful when you get that crystal power on him, when you get some damage behind him. He still works as a roamer, he just doesn't provide as much as he would do if he was in lane.
In the earlier game, you are seeing him be a credible threat using Agent of Wrath.
Nah, these guys are all vainglorious, mate.
That was actually all right. I'm going to give you a fist bump for that. But no, you can see him being a moderately credible threat with an Agent of Wrath. You know, he can walk in, start using that. You can start to force Sky away. You can start to force Wrath.
Good Crucible to stop that coming out. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, he does do quite a lot of damage with the Agent of Wrath. Death from Above's going to come out. Voldemar takes a lot of pain off towards the backside. Cream's going to jump in, see what he can do on towards this Samuel. Wrath now has that Samuel in the perfect position. Polite Company comes down. Samuel has fallen, but so has Cream. Fallen off the shelf, leaking all over the floor. That mech just not doing too well. She needs Baron to come and save her, Excalibur. Or perhaps he will in 122.
Perhaps he will in 122. That was and I think you can see that from Raph though. If Cream had remained on the right side of the fight, that would have been fine for SK Gaming, but he was eventually chased down Bastion with the Agent of Wrath able to just pick up that killing blow. But you can see here that Raph is starting to become more of a nuisance than he probably should be. And people are starting to struggle to deal with him. He's picked up the Eve of Harvest now. He's working towards what I imagine will be Broken Myth next. Going to itemize into some more potions, probably pick up some more defense. Eventually, light armor will need to be upgraded at some point, and he'll need to pick up some shielding as well. So shielding probably more important as the game progresses.
Yeah, definitely into that, Samuel. It's actually a build we saw in NA, was having that Finn as your front line and just building Fountain Crucible, triple kinetic shield. It worked out really well for the team who built it. I can't remember who it was.
It was Rekt built it.
Yes, it was against a Samuel and a Sky.
Yeah, because that was a double crystal power, right? So Voldemar, nice Crucible.
Yeah, nice Crucible will stop him in his tracks. However, Reflex and Crucible were used, and I mean, Forced Accord is on a 1 second shorter cooldown than the other two. Oh no, 1 second longer cooldown than the other two. So they will have both of those reflex blocks up and available for the next Forced Accord.
And you're seeing Bayou go for this double cooldown reduction as well. So that, you know, he's playing for that game. But blocks out the Afterburn.
The Afterburn. Cream's going to come in from the side here as well to see what they can do on towards this Avalanche squad. Good burst will stop Raph in his tracks. They're going to go for the gold mine, and it will fall over to Snow Avalanche. Now Bastion the target. Raph steps forward using that fortified health. Looks like they're going to try and get the death from above. It lands on Voldemar, who's very low on energy in this fight. SK are going to see if they can chase this one down, but not able to connect at the moment onto Avalanche. Bayou off towards the side, has Forced Accord up. Reflex and Aegis available. There's the Forced Accord. It does land onto Bastion. Raph will take a huge amount of pain, but will get taken out with the Afterburn. Gets taken down. Now Bastion the target. Cream trying to do what he can, but Bastion gets melted away by that Malice and Verdict, by those auto attacks coming out from Kentastic. Just about surviving off towards the side of the fight. I think he went down to single-digit HP. Cream needs to find a way out of this one. Malice and Verdict to the face. Just about gets him away. Good story strike off towards the minion as well to keep himself alive.
This is looking tough right now. I definitely think shielding should be a prime priority for Raph. He feels like he's taking a lot of damage from Malice and Verdict in the backline. He also needs at least some more armor because critical strikes coming out for Kentisik. He's going towards Tyrant's Monocle, and just a singular Koth armor with that fortified health might not be enough to sustain against Kentisik. So I would like Raph to think about prioritizing some further defense here. Coat of Plate should be enough at this point in time, but he's also feeling like he's kind of falling behind on damage as well, so he's going towards that Broken Myth very quickly. So, you know, it'll be a race between can he burst someone out before he gets burst out by Kentisik, and especially if you give Agent of Wrath over to Kentisik, it makes his ability to deal with Wrath that much more effective.
It definitely does. And I know you said that you like the Shatterglass build because of the burst and you have enough slows on the rest of your team, but I feel sometimes you need a Frostburn on this guy to start these fights off, to slow Voldemar before Raph and Bayou can get in range. Because of the reflex blocks, because of the because of the Crucibles as well. Raph's gonna step forward once again, but look how much damage he takes just by being in the middle of all three Snow Avalanche members. Voldemar will take some pain in response. Oblivion comes down and lands onto Cream and lands onto Bayou. They do come back into the fight. Raph is still alive somehow. Will he burn? Yes, he will. Gets taken out. And Snow Avalanche burning away the enemy composition. It's obviously liquid nitrogen snow coming out from there, being able to burn them to pieces and crush them amidst their claws. Bayou's going to step into Voldemar here. Cream trying to get away off towards the side. We saw him make one great escape earlier on, but no way away from Kentisik. Bayou needs to stay alive for at least 6 seconds to stop that ace buff happening for Snow Avalanche.
You feel like a lot of prioritization has been put by Kentisik into his defensive priorities, which is why he's just taking almost next to no damage. The penetration is there with Broken Myth for Raph and Cream now, so you know, they should start to build it up and be able to burn through this Aegis, but you feel like Snow Avalanche are coming out on top because Raph hasn't prioritized defense. He's going down very quickly, and the damage just doesn't seem to be there against Kentisik, who's picked up an Aegis, as has Voldemar picked up his own. I would have liked to have seen an Aegis probably prioritized for Raph, but maybe Coat of Plates into Aegis as well, but you also feel like their damage is lacking in some senses too. So maybe with this double Broken Myths, maybe if these elongated fights start to accelerate, then we'll see them be a little bit more effective here. I haven't seen much of that combo from them that I used to see during Gamescom. You know, force the cord, force the reflex block into Valkyrie. It seems a little bit more disjointed than I'm used to, and that's often because Raph is getting targeted first, and they're actually immediately trying to react from the back foot.
I think a big thing about it was that when they won at Gamescom, they had a huge amount of early jungle pressure. Like, Raph was in the enemy jungle at minute 1.5, minute 2, stealing away camps, trying to deny everything away from that glaive. They didn't have that much here. The glaive was able to get his farm. You know, they're about equal on farm, about 7 difference. Lane, yes, Cream is ahead, but they focused a lot more on keeping Cream awake and alive in that lane rather than having Raph put the pressure in the jungle and focusing on him.
I initially said I wasn't so sure about Frostburn, but now actually I think I'm on your page. I almost think Eve of Harvest would be good as well, because the sustain it provides for Cream would probably be unparalleled, but I do think having a Frostburn here would be very good at controlling the fight to allow Winter Spires to hit more effectively. I thought that maybe they'd have enough slow in their kits already, but it does feel like these Winter Spires aren't being as effective as they need to be.
It's the range on it as well. They're never in range for a Polite Company, and they're never in range for a Force to Core that actually connects because of the Crucible. If you have that forward barrage landing and getting a Frostburn, like a slow off, then you can actually start the fight. Now, Bastion will actually take a bit of pain here. Gonna get stunned up. Will be able to retreat his way away, and Gift of Fire just heals him up. Too easy for the Adar.
I'd like to see Bayou throwing out more Force to Cords.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like, you know, you almost anticipate them to be Crucibled, so start trying to burn Crucibles ASAP, and then you can set up for better fights.
Especially since you've got Chronograph Hourglass.
Yeah, exactly.
Got cooldown reduction.
You've got loads of cooldown reduction. Why not just start throwing these Force to Cords out? Even if you hit them, you're going to be in a great position because you're dragging everybody into range, especially near your turret too. Yeah. So I almost think that especially with the cooldown that Bayou will have on them, just start throwing them out. Like, start burning some reflex blocks, start burning some Crucibles.
And you know what they say, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but if you're not throwing out your hook, you're not going to land any of them. And at the moment, Bayou and SK Gaming are trying to land the win in this best of 3. Look at the damage on Cream straight away. 1 crit.
The Valkyrie is good.
There's the Winter Spire, there's the Valkyrie. Voldemar takes a huge amount of damage to the face. Another Winter Spire. There's the burst though, and it will stun up Cream. Kentisik going to be able to chase him off towards the side, and Cream is dead. No Crucible on the burst has cost SK so much in this fight. Raph unable to do anything. Bayou unable to get anywhere away from this one. Snow Avalanche are going to take the ace. They'll chase down the River Troll and they'll land their fish.
How did that... I'm almost certain that Bayou timed that Crucible to deal with the Burst of Judgment.
No, he didn't use it. There was no Crucible used. He used it at the end of the fight.
Oh, that's so odd for me, because that Crucible locked up Cream right on the edge of the fight, and that's the only reason that he went down to Kentisik. That looked so good for SK up until that Verse of Judgment. And when it went through, once it timed, and then obviously I would say maybe a bit of mispositioning from Cream, it felt awful.
Well, the thing was, Cream got caught out a little bit at the start, but then Suri striked around, and it allowed the fight to separate around.
What happened is they all piled onto Cream, thinking they could take him out, and it was a beautiful Suri strike, and it put them all in a position where Winter Spire, Valkyrie all had major effect onto Snow Avalanche. But then that Verse of Judgment sealed the deal. If that Verse of Judgment hadn't hit Cream, they'd have still been getting slowed up by the Winter Spire, they'd still been getting pulled in by Quibble and Polite Company, and Cream might have been untouched.
This is somewhere that SK will really struggle taking down this Kraken. They don't have the sustained damage on it that they'd like. Wrath can try and put some pain down, but there's no weapon power on them, so he's striking by Cream. Oblivion will come down, is resisted there by SK, but here comes the fight. Snow Avalanche diving the turret, they've got the burst down as well. Cream blocking out that afterburn, but already back. Bayou has fallen, and Wrath not able to do anything. Snow Avalanche just rolling over their opposition.
A lot of key skills being missed there, Sonar, and that was a real issue for SK at that point in time. Quibble at that point could have been super strong. They're actually going to go aggressive. Wrath goes right into the mix of things.
But look at Voldemar, he's just free. He's free off towards the top side to put all the pain down onto Wrath. The Kraken pushing in the turret, they can't take that down. Cream is so low, Wrath's going to have to try and do something, but I don't think SK have got this. I think the game's going to go across towards Snow Avalanche. It's last hope saloon, it's last chance on this best of 3 for SK, and Cream has fallen. He's been churned up to butter. Wrath trying to take down the Kraken, but all the rest of Snow Avalanche are still alive. They're going to be able to take down the Crystal, and Snow Avalanche will take it 2-1.
What a game series there between these two very competitive teams. I've got to give it over to Avalanche. They saw the double crystal power. They itemized super early in terms of defense. That shielding came through ASAP. And it just felt like that Rhyme, the early start that he had, his damage output was severely limited. Kentisik again with another aggressive glaive build. Great play from Snow Avalanche. Definitely looking like that team that we saw from the Evil 8. And I know SK are a lower seed team, but the way they've been playing recently, they've been playing like a top tier team. So Snow Avalanche really proving themselves in this series. And I think tomorrow they may even end up playing their sister team.
Quite possibly, yes, because Tsunami lost out earlier on today, didn't they?
Tsunami won, I think, my friend.
Oh yeah, of course they did.
Yeah. So it'll actually I think tomorrow it could be Snow versus Snow, which would be pretty crazy because we love seeing the only sister teams that we have in this top 8 here at the European Live Summer Championships. 2016 TM. It's going to be fun because these two teams they scrim together all the time. They know each other probably inside out in terms